of the living God. In other words, with David, it's personal. It's not like this guy is just boasting. No. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, heck no. You know, you didn't just, you're not just mocking us. No, this is personal because you're mocking the armies of the living God. So David has this God out of all the armies saying, man, who's this guy? And why is everybody allowing him to do this? You know, number two that I want to get from this. There are God-given moments in our lives where we can choose to be a giant watcher or be a giant killer. There are God-given opportunities or moments in our lives where we can choose to be a giant watcher or a giant killer. In other words, if you want to be a giant watcher, you're just like the crowd. You're like the armies of Israel. They're just watching Goliath come every day, mock them. In other words, you're just waking up every morning and you're just letting your problems mock you and control your life and take away the happiness in you. Or you can be a giant killer today. Or you can be a giant killer and be like David and have the guts and stand up and say, bills? Not have to worry about my bills. God makes my heart beat every single day. Why do I have to worry about bills? I can live without cell phone. I can live without cable. I can live without this. This is just secondary. My relationship with God is more important. You can be a giant killer. Whatever you're going through today and the devil's telling you this and this, like, talk to the hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Choose one. Talk to that because I'm a giant killer. My challenge to you today, do you want to be a giant watcher? Just you want to? Okay. Nothing personal. Nothing personal. Or you want to be a giant killer. How many of you want to be a giant killer? How many of you want to conquer whatever giant you're facing? All of us do. And let me tell you this. It is possible. It is possible. The whole army get terrified every time Goliath come out and challenge everyone. When David heard Goliath boasting, he asked the scared soldier a very, very good question. Who is this Philistine that he is allowed to defy the armies of living God? That's one thing I want you to ask yourself today. Do I really believe in my heart that I am a child of the Most High God? Do I really believe that? Or I just believe that when I'm in church? And starting Monday, when I wake up, I doubt that. Tuesday is starting to go 50%, and by Friday, it's 10%. Good thing there's Bible studies, so it goes up again. Do you really believe that you are a child of God? Because if you believe a child of God, no matter what comes before you, you will see and you will experience His power, no matter what. That's what giant killers are about. They don't ask. They don't focus on the problem. They focus on their God. David focused on their God, on his God. And I'm just imagining out of the armies. And the Bible says the armies were scared. This is the Goliath. This is the giant. And David asked them, who the heck is that giant? Why is he doing this to us? David kept asking around, and his question reached to Saul, the king, and gave him the opportunity to fight Goliath. In an instant, David went from being a shepherd boy to a giant killer. Do you know that God's giving us opportunities every single day to be giant killers? And if you're still living a defeated life, God is saying, I've given you 100 opportunities this week to be a giant killer. And you're still asking me to bless you. In an instant, in an overnight, you can be a giant killer. How? you can decide today, I'm going to be a giant killer. Because David, in an instant, David went from a shepherd boy to a giant killer. Imagine that, a shepherd boy to a giant killer. Look at verse 32. Verse 32. Look at verse 32. And Saul said to David, you are not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for you are a what? Youth. What does it say in your translation? You are a what? You are only a boy. You are only a servant. What else? Is there any other translation that says there? You are only a boy, and he is a man of war from his youth. In other words, you are only a boy. When he was a boy, he was already a soldier. So Saul is saying, how can you defeat this man? Look at verse 34. But David said to Saul, your servant used to keep his father's sheep, and when a lion or a bear came up and took a lamb out of the flock, I went out after and struck it, and delivered the lamb from its mouth. And when it arose against me, I caught it by its beard and struck and killed it. So David here, I don't think David still understands what he's saying. Because this is not just a lion. He's talking about Goliath. So David went back to his previous experiences. Oh, when there's a lion trying to kill the lamb, I killed the lion. I killed the lion. But what's the point? The point is David is eager to kill that giant. He's eager to kill that giant. This is the king talking to him. And he said, I don't care. I'm going to kill that giant. Are you eager to solve your problem? Or are you just waking up every morning and say, oh, it's fine. It will go away. It's not. It's not. It's not. Unless you come face to face with it. Unless you make a decision that, yes, hey, I'm going to be a giant killer today. I'm going to confront my giant. And that's what David exactly did. And I'm just imagining how tall was David during this time. Let's say he's 5'3", 5'4". Maybe he's my height. And 10 foot tall. 10 foot tall. Imagine that, 10 foot tall. Half. And not even the weight. Maybe Goliath's armor weighs more than David. You see the odds? But David has his heart convinced, I'm going to kill this giant. One thing that you have to make a decision today, I'm going to kill the giant, whatever is keeping me from coming to God. We're talking about boundary breakers. We have 10 weeks of this series. And we're on the 7th already. That means you have 3 more. And I hope, what was it? 6. So we have 4 more. And I hope that God will continue to speak to you through these messages. But at the end of this message, you have to decide whether you're going to be a giant killer or not. It's your decision. I'm going to make the decision for you. Your wife, your husband are going to make the decision for you. And as a church, we have to decide, are we going to be a giant killer? Or we're just going to stay here and be scared of Goliath outside? No, we have to make a decision. We have to say, I'm going to be a giant killer. I'm going to be a giant killer. If they say we cannot do it, yes, we can. Why can't we? God is with us. Why can't we? God is with us. Number 3, look at verse 38. Verse 38. Verse 38. We're still in chapter 17, verse 38. Look, so Saul clothed David with his armor, and he put a bronze helmet on his head. He also clothed him with a coat of mail. David fastened his sword to his armor and tried to walk, for he had not tested them. And David said to Saul, I cannot walk with these, for I have not tested them. So David took them off. Look at verse 40. Then he took his staff, which is a stick, in his hand, and he chose for himself 5, say 5? 5 smooth stones from the brook, and put them in his shepherd's bag, in a pouch which he had, and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. So the Philistine came and began drawing near to David, and the man who bore the shield